Hello. I could eat about 1.5 million of these.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Welcome to the It's a Drama podcast.
Daddy, I love him.
My mother thanks you.
If you can't say something nice.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I am Liz.
I'm Sunny.
And today we're here to talk to you about, well, just flying in general, flying long ways and jet lag and sort of like how's the best way to deal with that flying.
How it makes you feel and stuff.
Yeah, and especially with
In case
kids.
if you haven't done it, yeah, no one's... Because a lot of people I know haven't travelled, so
Yeah.
they will never know what it's like.
Well, we emigrated to New Zealand from the UK, and I suppose that is the biggest flight. Is that the biggest flight you can do in the world? Probably. It is, yeah, because it's like 24-hour flight, isn't it? So
yeah.
You're going from one side of the
It's
world
not one.
to
It's
the other.
not one flight though. It's two because you split it up somewhere.
Well, no, you don't always.
You do.
Yes, the plane stops,
Yeah,
but you don't.
and you split it up, so you get off the plane. So it's not like a continuous 24-hour flight. You're not sitting down for 24 hours.
No, but what I'm saying is, I know what you're saying. Like, you can have a stopover and spend. Like the first time we flew to New Zealand, we went to Singapore
For 3 days, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that was fine, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
that's like you say.
Not
you're
that I
splitting
remember it,
up.
but...
Yeah. But lots of times we have flown non-stop, haven't we? Like this time when we flew... Oh, sorry, the last time we flew to the UK, we just like had a couple of hours in Singapore airport and then
Yeah.
you're back on the plane. So we just want to talk about...
And you always fly to America non-stop, and
Yeah.
you flew
yeah.
from America to Sri Lanka non-stop.
What's the worst flight you've ever been on?
Maybe the flight over to America, because of the turbulence. It scared everyone. It was quite bad turbulence, but then again, it wasn't that bad.
From New Zealand?
Yeah, maybe just the flight you mean that I've not enjoyed the most.
Yeah, like what's been the worst flight that you've just thought, like on our whole trip when we went around the world, what was the worst time that you can remember that you thought, God, I hated that flight?
Maybe just I've never had a really, really bad flight. Maybe the flight back from Thailand to New Zealand, just because I just could not sleep at all and I didn't want to. But then again, maybe the flight from India to Thailand, because I just don't remember that flight at all because I was so tired and disorientated. Maybe the flight from America to Sri Lanka, because I made the mistake of sleeping because we took those... Did we take sleeping pills?
Went from where?
From America to Sri Lanka.
America to Sri Lanka.
We took something.
Yeah, because MJ gave us those things, didn't she?
Yeah.
Didn't you put them in behind your ear or something? Then
Was
no,
that patches or was it or something? Or?
no, they were like a sleeping tablet, weren't they? I think?
yeah.
Like a natural sleeping tablet. They actually worked for me.
They worked for me as well because I fell asleep.
Yeah. But the only thing with taking sleeping things, like sleeping aids, I would say, is it can make you feel a little bit groggy. And
Groggy
sometimes,
and-
Sonny, you miss your dinner.
Yeah, you do. Well, that's the one thing I hate the most as well about airplanes is waking up in the morning. We're just waking up and smelling the breakfast because it's just rank.
Always smell. Excuse me, I just dropped my tea all over me. It just always smells. The breakfast always smells the same, doesn't it?
Gross, yeah.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't smell gross.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
It does. It smells
you're
really
right.
gross because you're not in the mood for eating at all.
Do you think that's because we always fly like Asian airlines?
No, because it's always bacon and eggs.
No, it isn't. It's those chicken sausage things that they sort of smell like rubbery.
Oh no, it's always the bacon. It's always the eggs that do it for me. That grow, and you can. Oh, that just makes me gag thinking about it. You can smell
It doesn't help that we've
Yeah.
just had scrambled egg
the
for
hot
breakfast.
tin foil and oh. God, it's just-
Yeah. I don't know.
Peeling the tin foil back and seeing the yellowy white eggs with the thin little grey slices of bacon with a little fake bread. Oh yeah.
Do you know the best food I've ever had on a flight? Probably was when we were flying back to New Zealand, on Air New Zealand,
Yeah.
from Singapore. And
Really?
that was, it was really, really nice food. And I always used to think Singapore Airlines had the best food. But yeah, then when we flew Air New Zealand, like we're not affiliates for them or anything, but this is just a...
Did we ever fly Singapore Airlines
Oh, yeah, we flew...
on the trip that we did?
No, not the world trip we didn't, no.
We did.
Oh, did we?
We flew back to New Zealand on Singapore.
Oh, yeah, flew...
Did
Oh,
we
yeah, well,
just flew back to New Zealand on Air New Zealand?
no, I'm talking about when we went over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I went over with Mama.
Yeah.
Because I went back to England with my mum and then, on that flight. So, anyway, this conversation feels as if it's sort of like going to nowhere.
Going nowhere. Yeah, no, so anyway, what we were going to talk about is just the way that we, well, personally deal with jet lag. So, you know, I'm sorry, I'm sitting too close to the microphone. So what is your way
What's
of
my
getting
tip?
over
I know
coffee or something? Or?
Yeah. Well, for a start, I always
actually,
try...
firstly, let's just say, what's the biggest jet lag experience you've ever had? And how did you kind of deal with it?
The biggest jet lag experience I've ever had was when the first time I flew back from New Zealand to the UK, before we'd emigrated here. I went over with Tess, didn't I? Well, I went over to New Zealand with my daughter and my mum, and we only stayed for 3 weeks in New Zealand. Maybe that's what was wrong. Like, you know, maybe I'd only just got back into a sleep pattern, and then we flew back from New Zealand to the UK, and I just remember, just like for about 2 weeks, just waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I made the mistake, and you should never ever make this mistake.
Getting up?
Yeah, that's the biggest mistake you can make.
Yeah.
Don't even open your eyes.
No.
You know, you lay there in bed and you're like, bang, wide awake, aren't you? The biggest mistake you can make is, because I started getting up and I remember I went down to the kitchen.
Was this England?
Yeah.
Auntie Linda's?
No, this is when I first went over with Mama.
Okay, all
my
those
very
years
first
ago.
time, 2009, flew back to the UK, and you were only little kids then, and just, making that mistake of just getting up and, instead of just making myself stay in bed. What's the worst jet lag you've ever experienced?
Well, I was just going to say, it's weird, isn't it, how your body gets on a clock, and you don't need. So it gets to the point sometimes where you don't need an alarm clock. If you're really tired, you do.
Yeah.
But it gets to the point where you don't need an alarm clock, because if you think back to medieval times, how were they all getting up at the crack of dawn without an alarm clock?
I
know you've got the rooster, but it's just weird how your body gets into that schedule of, and sometimes you'll get into a really horrible schedule that will last, like you say, for a few weeks, where you'll wake up once at 3 o'clock, go to the bathroom, and then that's it for like 2 weeks. You're waking up every single night at 3 o'clock.
Because your body gets into that schedule, routine, I suppose, isn't it? And that's what it thinks is
normal.
Well, you're getting up really early at the moment to go to the gym. Are you being woken up? Or
6 o'clock? Yeah, I'll wake up. I will wake up around just before my alarm goes off, but then I'll fall back asleep, Just because I wake up doesn't mean I get up. But I will wake up.
It's almost like isn't it? When you set an alarm.
Yeah, you know when it's coming.
You know when it's going to come up. You sort of like always wake up about 3 minutes before the alarm goes off, don't you?
Yeah. And that's what kind of makes you think, is time, about the whole... time is just a number that we use to measure the day cycle and stuff like that. But your body knows how much time's passed, It's weird, like you put in 5:30 and your body wakes up at 5:25. How does it know that that's that time?
I know.
It's almost like, I don't know, you got a clock built into you, and you probably do. But anyway, my worst jet lag experience.
Have a chocolate while you were talking, Sonny. Now it'll give the listeners a nice crunch look while you're talking. Like you're consoling yourself, aren't you? Because you're getting ready for building yourself up for that horrible experience. I know which one you're going to say. I know exactly what you're going to say. Go on then, say it.
So, I turned up to Sri Lanka. Landed in the airport. Everyone was groggy.
Where had you flown from first
America.
of all? JFK.
And it just felt so stupid because we turned up with those big, bright, Happy New Year glasses on. Remember that? My big pink hoodie on and all my American hairstyle, and turned up thinking, here I am in Asia, and it was just horrible. And
why was it horrible?
It just was, because I've never been there before. And it's just there, and you get out, and you get into it's just 37 degrees. You get into the that's Celsius or Fahrenheit? No, Celsius, yeah. If not Fahrenheit, that'd be freezing in Fahrenheit. But you got out, and it was just like getting into the car.
What car?
The Uber that we ordered.
Right, okay.
So yeah, we ordered the Uber, we got into the car, and used, what was it, like Oscar Resort or something like that? And you're thinking, when you think of the word resort, you think of palm trees and little cute houses and little, blue umbrellas. And
You should have known, Sonny.
Oscar. No, I didn't know at that point because it wasn't a cheapy trip at that point. And we'd been in America, gone to Disneyland. And,
Exactly. We were
and
broke.
you're thinking, Oscar Resort. And he's just on in the thing, and I couldn't see outside because it was dark, so you didn't know what anything looked like. You didn't know what the surrounding of the city looked like. So it was all just like the odd palm tree, the odd house. And I just remember going up that. I remember it was an unpaved road.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
Yeah.
well, this doesn't seem like where a resort would be.
I know.
And we pulled up outside, and it was literally just these, what was it, like stone gates, wasn't it? Like a big stone gate and a little sign that just said Oscar Resort. And then we learned out that his name was Oscar.
And his house.
It wasn't like, oh yeah, this is Oscar Beach. It was just his house. It's like, someone turned up and we go, no, welcome to Decal Resort. Turned up and, just opened the gate. He's in his, what was it, underpants and like a singlet.
He wasn't in his sarong.
Bare
He wasn't in
feet.
his underpants.
And he cracked the gate open and there he was and he said, oh God. And it was just like, at that point, I was like, God, I'm so tired. It was like, 1 o'clock in the morning. I've got pictures on my phone. I've got a message I sent to my grandma that said something like, you've got to help me. There's a lizard in the bathroom. I don't know where I am.
Oh, so.
Yeah, so he turned up and it was like a little house and we walked in and it's just that Asian feel, doors wide open, that marbly, fake marble floor.
It wasn't fake, actually.
Well, I don't think it was marble.
Oh, wasn't it?
No, it wouldn't be marble, would it?
All right, then. Go on, then.
Just polished
Fake.
stone.
Polished
and
stone,
the wooden seats with no cushions on them. And you sit down and he brings out the tray of tea and it was like weird tea. And I'm just pour myself some more tea. Get into the mood. Yeah, so gave us some tea.
At 1 o'clock in the morning.
2:30 in the morning or something like that.
Exactly.
And it was just a square room, and then there was a little room in the corner with a curtain over it, and I was like, oh, where does that go? And he went, this is your room. And
In my resort.
yes, welcome to my resort. Where are the other guests, Oscar? And he pulled back the pull back the curtain, and it was just the first thing I noticed was the vents at the top of the ceiling, at the top of the roof, because they were uncovered, like stone, stone holes in the top of the roof. And I was just thinking, there's no netting, anything on those. Like anything can crawl in through there. In Asia, tarantulas, snakes, lizards, and I just walking into the bathroom. It was like that plasticky door, and you just opened it up, and it was just I could just see it, that orange tile with the green sink. And the toilet seat, and it was a lizard on the ceiling.
That in the 1970s.
Yes. Anyway, had no guests since the 1970s. Anyway, got there, and it was just, your bed was there in the first room, wasn't it, with nothing on, just like a bamboo frame bed. And then you walked in, and it wasn't even that big. It was like short, and then you walked into the other room, and there was another double bed, and somehow it was smaller, and it was like sorry, I'm just being told to move away from the microphone.
Yes, and stop eating while you're talking. No one wants to hear you crunching.
And then...
Oh, God, have a cup of tea as well. Why don't you?
I'm getting in the mood. Reminding myself of all the Western comforts. And he looked, and the bed was bowing on one side. Me and Tess kind of looked at each other and were just like, well, who's going to get that side? Anyway, so...
obviously poor Tess did, because
I
she
got
always
it, actually.
did.
Oh. And it was so hot, and he went, okay, I'm going to bed now, see you in the morning. And I just remember, it was just like something from a nightmare. I was just laying there in my thin silk gown.
Hang on, your thin silk gown?
The orange thing.
That's not a gown, it was a sleeping bag liner.
That sleeping bag liner. Laying there in it, and...
Oh, you George Marley laying here. What's he called?
Bob Marley.
No, that Scrooge thing. Just when you said,
Jacob Marley.
Yeah, Jacob Marley. When you said long silk gown, I just imagined Jacob Marley walking through the bedroom.
But I was there. I was just laying there, and I just remember thinking, "Oh, this is horrible." It was just like,
ungrateful.
Ungrateful
little
I liked
privileged
it. Yeah,
brat.
I was just laying there, and it was just something from a nightmare. Like me and Tess was just laying there, and we laid there for about 2 hours, and Tess just went, "Are you asleep yet?" And I went, "No." And you know when you can feel the day coming.
I hate that.
You know.
Oh, I hate that.
And you can just feel it drawing ever closer, and you're like, I'm running out of time to sleep here.
I hate that feeling.
Yeah, and
then you hear a bird singing. It's
yeah,
like, no.
you start to hear birds singing, and the room starts getting slightly lighter.
Yeah.
And but like There was those bread vans that used to drive around.
I
Remember?
love
And it was
that
like
in Sri Lanka.
do 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 Fur Elise. And it was
Yeah.
just laying there. It was just something out of a nightmare because like that's the song I always used to play on the piano. And you just laying there. You didn't know what it was because you didn't know what they were at the time. And we goes do 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 do. It was just oh god, what was that? But the good thing I do remember about that morning is I woke up and I looked out the window and I could see like a temple in the distance in the sun. And it was just, kind of brightened me up a little bit.
So that was your worst ever.
And then it kept going, and it was the day.
Oh no! Okay, can I have a
Got
little?
up
Can I have a
and-
little say?
Yeah, got up, and it was just like, breakfast is in here. And you walked through, and there he was. And it was just a little wooden table in the corner, wasn't it? It was a nice breakfast. It was like little bananas and little curries.
It was.
And I was just thinking, like, oh,
I've got
you
to
were getting
say,
into the full swing of it, like, oh, here we are, oh, savoury for a breakfast, curry, get stuck in. It's just, I was just sitting there thinking, I'm a million miles away from anywhere. I was just so tired, exhausted. That whole day was a bit blurry and weird because I was in a weird country, weird people, and it was just like, obviously now I know more about it, but that was the first day, so you know.
Do you know why that day was weird? Can you remember why
I'm
that day was
tired.
weird? No. Can
Why?
you remember what happened that
Yeah,
day?
because we went to move on and then we had to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we'd booked, we were only supposed to stay in Oscar Resort. I'll just quickly tell you this and then we can move on to our jet lag.
Yeah.
You were only supposed to stay in Oscar's Resort for one night, and then we had booked this, what I thought was a palace by the sea sort of thing, like, you know, down the coast a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And so we got into the tuk-tuk in the morning and gave them the address of this place that I'd booked through Agoda. So I've never booked anything through Agoda after that, actually. And we gave them the address and they're like, yeah, okay, hop in. And we got in the back of the tuk-tuk. Remember we took that video and stuff? We're driving along the streets. And we went for about 20 minutes, didn't we? And then they started, oh no, we were in 2 tuk-tuks, that was it. Someone was following us behind, wasn't there? Yeah, 2 of us in the bags and another 2 in the bags in the other one. Because that's what you'll find in Asia is if you take one of those tuk-tuks, they and you've got like big rucksacks, they can't fit them all in, or they won't, whichever. Anyway, so we're driving along, and then the 2 drivers started talking to each other, didn't they? And looking a bit worried, and we were like, hang on, what's the matter? Like, you know, and they were like shouting at each other, and then they got on their phones, didn't they? Yeah. And we're just sitting there at the side of the road in this dumpy street. Do you remember? It was like something out of flipping Beirut. It was just like, it was like all
It's
these
those concrete
buildings.
buildings that are just not finished.
They were
isn't it?
just all fallen down, weren't they?
Yeah.
And I just remember that little cat with no tail that was just, it was like
No,
someone
that
had just,
was that cat with no tail was
yeah, I know there was another one in
okay.
what's this? Yeah, but there was, I just remember seeing this cat, and the driver finally came and he pointed at this house that looked like something out of a derelict horror film thing, and he said, that's your hotel. This hotel has been closed for 6 months. And he said, have you paid your money? And we're like, yes, we paid it through Agoda. And he just said, well, the hotel isn't here. That's why that day was weird. So we were like, oh no, well, what should we do? Like, you know, so the only thing we could do, because there we are with 4 of us, not knowing where to stay, where the hell we
all
are.
packed up, weren't
all
we?
packed up, take us back to Oscar Resort. And that's why that day was weird, because I was on the phone to Agoda, or Dad was, you know, onto Agoda, give us our money back and all the rest of it. And Oscar said, you're welcome to stay here for 2 nights, but the only thing is I'm having a party tonight. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And that was a bit weird.
That was a bit weird because next morning
The last night was the party.
we stayed for 2 nights.
Yeah, we only stayed for 2 nights. Yeah, and he just said, and so, yeah.
Little voice in
I
the
know,
corner.
he's trying to get on. He's trying to get on.
We didn't
Yeah.
stay for 3 nights.
Sorry,
we
he's putting 3 fingers up and doing that face that says, I know everything.
We did not
So anyway,
stay
you're
for
not even
3
on it, so
nights.
be quiet. Look, he's getting his phone out now and he's
We
going to
didn't,
try and
trust
show
me,
you.
we did not stay
Sonny,
for 3 nights.
Sonny, don't look at him.
Okay,
Just
yeah.
look at me. Go on.
So yeah, anyway.
And he had that party,
Yeah. And the
which he invited Brian to.
Yeah, I just remember laying there on the lounger, falling asleep, and you were like, come on, you've got to have dinner yet. And I was just like, woo. And I had dinner and then went to sleep at about 7, and then woke up about 11 when you all came into the room, and that was it. And then it was just broken sleep from then on out.
So you're awake again.
Yeah, and it was just like, I was just laying there like, how has this happened to me? And then the next morning we woke up, I've got a video of him, you can hear it, of him throwing up somewhere in the building. Oscar throwing, and you didn't know where it was. He was somewhere in the building
Nice resort.
throwing up.
Do you
He's just
remember?
like, where's our breakfast?
But
And we
in
got the
all
leftovers from
honesty-
yesterday's breakfast.
No, in his defence, we talked to him about that, and he said, in Sri Lanka, he said, like, it's very rare for us to get together and have a drink together. Like, you know, it's so difficult to buy alcohol in Sri Lanka. Do you know that? Yeah.
I don't think
It's
it was.
really
We walked into a
difficult to
liquor
buy it.
store, didn't
No,
we?
he didn't. No, remember they took us down. Well, he didn't take us. He took Brian down on the back of the motorbike, and you turned up at this little place with bars, and you put your money underneath, and they passed the alcohol out underneath the. No, it's not. You don't just. Oh no, hang on. Am I getting confused with somewhere
I think you're
else?
getting confused with it.
Am I getting confused with India?
That's the same.
What did we do in Agra? Where was that? Where you went and bought alcohol and it was like, what was that? Do you remember when we were in that nice hotel and it was like, and I remember something. Oh no, it was when we were in
Stop looking away because you can't.
Do you remember when we were in Sri Lanka and we went to somewhere and you were trying to buy bus tickets and next to it was the liquor shop, wasn't it?
Oh
you
yeah,
remember what I'm
you're
thinking?
talking about Marissa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Marissa.
yeah. We've actually got pictures of us buying alcohol from there. Actually, I'm going to put that picture in the show notes because it shows you the sort of place that is, you know, where you buy it from. Anyway, so no, can I just say, Sonny, you're making it sound really, really horrible.
Oh, it was.
No, it wasn't actually. No,
It was
wasn't.
for me.
No, well, you're just being a silly boy. You really are because...
I loved the rest of the trip, but that first couple of days, that was like hell.
Do you think it was hell because you had jet lag though?
And because I didn't know where I was and I'd never done it before.
Let me
Did it now, it would be like, oh, it's all good. But even then again, there's something about turning up to Asia after not being there for months, which is just like... Because I turned up to Thailand. Remember we turned up to Thailand after England? And it was just like, this is like being back in a nightmare. I just...
Oh, stop.
No, but it was because I was tired. Again, I was jet lagged after the trip from England because I'd slept on the plane. It's the silliest thing. You don't... That's what I was going to tell you as a breakfast. I was going to say to them, the podcast people, the listeners, don't sleep on planes. Because if you sleep on planes, doesn't matter what time you arrive, you can arrive at 2 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't matter. Well, you've only got to last 12 hours, 24 hours. Even if you don't sleep for a day and a half, it's worth it. Because it's not worth the 3 days to a week after that comes with the jet lag.
Right, I'll tell you what, we'll talk about that in just a second. But before we talk about that in just a second, I want to say that Oscar from Oscar Resort, he got up at 1:30 in the morning. He didn't have to do that, Sonny. He could have just left the key. He got up, he greeted us. Yes, he was in his little underpants or whatever he was in, but he greeted us. He brought us into that lovely little, you know, room where he made us tea, right?
Yeah.
And he just settled us in. He didn't have to do that.
No, but we
Sri
did
Lanka
because we paid for it.
No, but I know, but we weren't paying a lot. I can't remember. It was something like $8 or something stupid like that. It was really cheap. And, you know, and...
Probably just excited because we were the first guest he's had since 1979 when he renovated his bathroom.
Wee! I've got a guest. He's probably waiting up till 1:30 in the morning. Actually, I bet that party the night after was to celebrate that he had a guest.
Grand opening of Oscar Resort.
No, I'm not going to say that because he was really nice and he was a nice person.
He was nice. He was a nice man.
Yeah, he was. And all Sri Lankan people are nice.
Yeah, they are. Well, yeah, they are, yeah.
So, yeah, they are. There's not one, and you
Police
can't...
are a bit scary.
No, we stayed with the policemen, but you can't say that. They were lovely. Absolutely lovely. But anyway, so going back to your... So, yeah, this is interesting, actually, because you've got this theory that you don't sleep on a plane ever.
Yeah.
Does it work?
Yeah, it does. It's painful. It sucks. So we got back to New Zealand. It was like, I just want to sleep. And I didn't sleep and I was fine. I'd settled straight into the time zone. You go to bed, sleep for 12 hours and you wake up in the morning.
So how can you go? Say if you've got an 18-hour flight, how can you possibly get on a flight knowing you've got 18 hours ahead of you, plus the time that you're going to have when you get to your destination, and think, I'm not going to sleep?
You just got to do it.
And what do you do to not sleep then?
Don't sleep.
Yeah, but how?
Just keep it active. Just push through it. It's like a mental barrier. Just don't close your eyes. You can have a little power nap for 40 minutes, but just don't go to sleep like on the plane, because then you go to sleep, your body goes, oh, I've had 4 hours and that's enough, and that's it. Then you won't sleep again after that. I've had that's enough, and then you turn up and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when you're stuffed. Or 8 o'clock at night. That's when it's really bad because you've just had your sleep. You got off the plane, you've woken up, you've gone through customs, you get out, and it's 7 o'clock in the evening. And you're like, breakfast is dinner time, and everyone's going to bed. And then you try and go to bed, and you're laying there like, it feels like 10 o'clock in the morning. And that's where it doesn't work. So, if you don't sleep, no matter what time you turn up, you wait until the normal time to go to bed in that place, and you go to bed, and then you wake up at the normal time. Next day's fine.
So when you're on a plane for 18 hours, knowing that you can't sleep, maybe just have a
I've done it.
power nap.
I've done it.
No, I know you have,
yeah.
Sonny. I know you have. Yeah, you started doing it halfway through the trip, and yeah, it worked for you, didn't it? I did notice it worked for you.
The only time I didn't do it was the Thailand thing, and that's what stuffed me up.
But I can't understand how you can sit on, like I say, how do you stop yourself falling asleep?
They're films.
See, I don't like watching films on planes. It's boring.
Well.
And also, what about when they put all the lights down and it all
Films.
goes quiet? Films? Well, I suppose it's personal choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or you could listen to, hang on.
Yes.
Brian's putting his hand up. Yes?
Just one little tip.
Yes?
When you get on the plane, change your clock to the destination time and you've got a better idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Change
If
your
you
watch.
didn't hear that,
Yeah.
So change your clock on your phone or your watch to the destination time. So whatever country you're going to is time.
Yeah, that is a good idea, actually. It makes you feel a bit crazy, doesn't it? Because you get on and you think, oh, well, it's not that time. But yeah, it is a good idea. My top tip for jet lag would be the one where when you get home and you do wake up in the middle of the night, don't get up.
Yeah.
And also, I think, as you were just talking then, I remembered a flight that I got on. And rather than sort of like getting on the flight and thinking, right, I've got to sleep, and making yourself all comfy, getting your little cushion, putting your little flight socks on and settling down and, thinking, right, okay, eye mask, I'm going to really have a good... Rather than doing that to yourself and then feeling so disappointed and frustrated when you know you can't, I think maybe just do what you said and take...
Don't sleep.
No, because I don't think I could do that. But just take like a power nap and just say to yourself, well, as long as I have 2 little lots of 20, 40 minutes, that's all I will need, and then do what you said.
Yeah.
All right, so
that's our
we're
jet
sorted
laggy
then.
stories.
Yeah, that's the jet lag podcast. So, anything else you want to add, Ben?
No, I think that's about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. Well,
a bit shorter than normal, but that's fine.
26 minutes. Oh, hang on, I'm getting the eye. What's the matter?
Did it get worse in Sri Lanka?
Oh, don't ask about Sri Lanka because this will go on
What do you mean,
forever.
like jet laggy or like?
Luckies.
Oh well, we use that for another story.
Yeah.
Because we can talk about that for ages.
So from Oscar Resort,
Sat down on the steps and put your hand in spit. That's
Sonny.
yeah.
Amazing
Stop.
train trip.
You be quiet and Sonny stop.
Okay, ready?
Yes, exactly. So, and the next another podcast we'll talk about, because when we left Oscar Resort, we went couch surfing.
For the first time
For
in Asia. Sorry.
Yeah, but we'd already been in
last time in
America.
Asia, except for Japan. Didn't go couch
No.
surfing after that.
Yeah, we went in India.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we can talk about that experience because that was very, very interesting.
It was.
But until then, I'm going to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And thank you for listening.
I've been Sunny.
And I've been Liz.
We've been the It's a Drama podcast.
Yeah.
If you did enjoy the podcast, then leave a
comment.
5-star review on iTunes. And if you don't, awful person. All right. See you next week.
See you next week. Thanks
Bye.
for listening. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us this week on the podcast. We have loved having you here.
If you guys could subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us a 5-star review,
Oh yeah, that would be nice.
that would be absolutely amazing. And make sure to share the podcast with your friends.
And if you'd like to hop over to the blog, find one of the little boxes that ask you to drop your email. I will send you a newsletter every week letting you know when we've released our new podcast. That will go
that'll be nice.
straight into your inbox. So it's www.itsadrama.com.
All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you next week for another podcast.
Look forward to it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.